But I'd love for you to sort of walk through your general thesis about the behavior of a typical COVID virus and the seasonality of it, and there's a sort of bell curve behavior that seems to track every time. Walk us through some of that.
Right. Well, so if we look at Europe or Northeast North America, it's the simplest kind of northern temperate region. So we saw it rise in March quite explosively. So a real epidemic, you get a very rapid rise in mortality and ICUs filling up. And then you get the curl over and you get a long, steady decline. Right. It's a Gompertz mathematical function. And I interviewed Professor Michael Levitt, the Nobel Prize winner, a few times, including in person. I traveled to London to get him for our new movie on this. And yeah, he worked it all out in February that the Chinese had followed this curve, that the lockdown actually was not really the driver of the curl over. And he also looked at the Diamond Princess and he put it all together in the mathematics of it. And he wrote to Imperial College London, the scaremongers, who we now know, like you said, the data is out now. We know they were out by a factor of 12 in their predicted deaths and impact. So he notified them and they ignored him. But basically, the curl over is because the passing of the susceptible, so susceptible people pass away, etc., or people recover and you get community immunity building, and the virus finds or stumbles over finding a lack of people to continue the process. So you've got passing of the susceptible, community immunity or herd immunity, it's a dirty word now for some reason, develops, and you've also got the passing of the season and the virus becomes less active for a few complicated reasons, including human immune system triggering and humidity and other factors. So those together gives you the classic curve. But New York, with one of the biggest hits in the world, it was strongly driven by herd immunity. I mean, that's clear. You can watch New York ever since, and it's flatline. And Europe mostly. But what we're seeing in Europe now, to the seasonality, some countries that never really caught the first wave, they had a small hump. They're getting quite a big one now in the winter. And the countries generally that got the big hump because they developed community immunity, etc., and the susceptible past, they're getting a rise in the winter that's endemic, normal type rise in the following winter. So, but the best thing for seasonality, if I just dwell on that, if people can visualize the hump in Northern Europe, March, April, up and down and gone by May, well, in Brazil, the hump rose up in March, April, May, June, July in a longer, slower mortality curve. But Brazil had SARS-CoV-2, this virus, identified in the human sewage in November 2019, same as Europe. So that's a striking example that the virus triggers seasonally, right? Even though it was in community transmission, a high transmissibility virus, everyone agreed on that, or of 3, it's in Europe and it's in Brazil in November in the poo, right? Coming through the humans. Okay, it's there. But Europe goes up like New York and down again. And Brazil is a long, slow hump that they're only tailing off now. And these seasonal patterns match the prior literature and research for influenza type viruses. They match very nicely what's been observed for decades.